I'm 34, a single dad who spends his days fixing networks and his nights making lists just to stay sane. I track every dollar that leaves my wallet. I could tell you the exact price of a gallon of milk in 3 different stores, one of which restocks the 12-pack of juice boxes every Tuesday morning. My 11-year-old son, Maxime, is obsessed with Lego, hates olives with a passion, and honestly believes I have superpowers because I can untangle cords without dropping a single curse word. We live in a small rental house with a patchy backyard and a barbecue I salvaged from someone's curb. My family is only 20 minutes away, so for years I thought that meant we were close. Turns out, distance isn't measured in miles. That Saturday, Maxime's birthday, started out simple enough. Blue streamers fluttering in the breeze. A giant Costco cake that said Maxime Level 10 in blocky, pixel font. I rented an inflatable soccer goal and borrowed folding chairs from my neighbor. 6 of his classmates showed up. The air smelled like sunscreen and charcoal, the kind of scent that makes you think summer might actually be kind. I kept glancing at my phone. Marianne had texted, "We'll be there. Wouldn't miss it." My sister Sophie had promised to come too. Auntie Lise was bringing the treats, and my brother Julian said he'd swing by after the gym. I lined up little water bottles along the porch railing and tied a trash bag to the fence, trying to make the yard look less like a junkyard. Every 20 minutes, I checked the family group chat. Still nothing. When the pizza delivery guy arrived, I asked him to wait a second, thought maybe a wave of cars would show up, and I'd need to add another extra large pepperoni to the order. He peered past me at the small crowd of kids and said, "You're good." 2 o'clock slipped into 3. The sun started to drift. The kids kicked off their shoes and took turns shooting at the inflatable goal. My neighbor from across the street brought over another cooler. "Full house," she joked. I smiled back, stiffly, like my face had forgotten how. At 3:11, my phone buzzed. A message from my mom, "Don't be so dramatic. It's just a kid's party. Just a kid's party." I read it twice because my brain refused to believe that was all she wrote. No running late, no getting stuck in traffic, not even "Happy birthday, sweetheart." Just that one line, sharp as a slap. I stood there beside a bowl of orange slices, and the words crawled under my skin, burning slow. Maxime came running up, cheeks red, hair sweaty and plastered to his forehead. "Dad, can we cut the cake? Can we sing?" "Of course," I said. We gathered everyone and sang. He blew out his candles in one breath, he'd been practicing. He grinned up at me, frosting smeared across his mouth, and I clapped like some proud fool who couldn't feel his hands. Then I slipped inside the kitchen to rinse the knife and steal a few deep breaths where nobody could see me. The screen door creaked behind me as another notification popped up, those blinking typing dots like a tiny heartbeat. "Sophie, we'll catch the next one, today's insane." Then my lock screen lit up with her Instagram story, "Brunch mimosas, captioned self-care Sunday on a Saturday with my girls." In the corner of the photo was my mother, sunglasses on, champagne flute raised. Julian's tattooed arm, yeah, the one I helped pay for, wrapped casually around their chairs. And there I was, standing in my kitchen, holding a wet knife, with a half-eaten cake behind me and a 10-year-old boy outside who still believed that when people said something, they actually meant it. The house smelled like sugar and dish soap. Someone outside yelled "goal," followed by laughter. I set the knife down, wiped my hands on a towel, and went back out to hand out cake plates. I didn't mention the empty chairs. Not once. When the last kid left, Maxime and I sat together in quiet, piecing together the spaceship he'd unwrapped earlier. He didn't ask about Grandma or Aunt Elise or Uncle Julian. Maybe he didn't want to. Maybe he already knew. Later that night, after he fell asleep on the couch, still clutching a slice of pizza like a tiny king, my phone rang again. This time, Mom's voice came through in a message, sharp and careless, "Don't make a big deal, Daniel. He's 10. He'll barely remember." As I stared at the ceiling, something inside me went cold, like a switch flipped off for good. I didn't reply. Instead, I started cleaning. Counted the chairs to return, sorted the cans to recycle, scraped the frosting into the trash. Folded the banner, tucked the candles into a shoebox. I put everything back where it belonged. That's what I do. And when I finally placed my phone face down on the counter, it wasn't because I was tired. It was because if I read one more message from them, I'd say something I could never take back. I've always been the fixer, the one who knows the Wi-Fi password, remembers everyone's birthdays, and files taxes on time. The one who handles things. I was 21 when Philippe left. Marianne had looked me dead in the eye in the driveway and said, "You're the man now." It didn't sound like encouragement, it sounded like an assignment. When Sophie launched her art studio, I built her website and covered the first 6 months of hosting. She said she'd pay me back when she was profitable. Profit blew through her life like a summer breeze, here and gone. When Julian got his DUI at 25, I took time off work to sit in court with him. I was the one who drove Mom to urgent care that winter when she wouldn't stop cooking through the flu. And when Julian's rent came due 3 months in a row, I sent him money each time, only this once, as he put it. Every once came with a chorus. Mom saying, family helps family. Sophie muttering in the mirror, you're doing so well. Julian promising, I'll pay you back, bro. He never did. But he did buy new rims, because lies roll smoother when they shine. The day Maxime was born, I made him a promise. He would never sit in a plastic chair at his own party wondering if the people who said they loved him would actually show. He would always have cake, even when the budget was tight. And when he messed up, he'd have adults in his life who apologized, not excuses. Money's been tight plenty of times. Childcare feels like paying rent twice, and health insurance could make a man cry. But I make it work. I always have. I've picked up side gigs, sold my old guitar to pay for the dentist. When Max outgrew his cleats mid-season, I found a pair at a thrift store and scrubbed them with a toothbrush until they shone. Meanwhile, my family chat might as well have been a travel blog, wine tastings, yoga retreats, spa weekends. Sophie's soft life phase. Julian's grindset era, taking more selfies than miles he put on his lease truck. When I once asked Mom if she'd like to come to our weekly dinner, she just laughed softly, sweetie, my calendar's full. Maybe next month. Next month never came. But my phone still lit up every payday. The message came through as a small green bubble on my phone. Quick favor. Emergency. Don't tell anyone I asked. That was Sophie, of course it was, calling me at 11 o'clock one night last fall. She'd booked a last-minute girls' trip to Tulum and, surprise, her airline card got declined. Can you fix it? I'll pay you back Monday. Monday came. Then Tuesday. When I brought it up, she sighed like I was the one being unreasonable. Don't be petty, Daniel. Money comes and goes, but memories last forever. That's how Sophie operates, my money, her memories. Then December rolled around, and Mom and Marianne sent a group email that looked more like a corporate project plan than a family chat. The subject line read, Holiday Gift Coordination. Inside was a spreadsheet color-coded within an inch of its life. Names, prices, items, all neatly sorted. We should divide it evenly, she wrote. Evenly in our family translates to Daniel will handle it. Because no one else ever does. So, I did what I always do. I got Maxime a new winter coat and a book. I bought Mom that fancy mixer she'd been raving about since spring. I sent Sophie a supply store gift card for her art studio. Julian got new trainers. My gift? It came later that night, wrapped in silence, when I suggested maybe someone else could bring dessert next time. No one answered. That's the kind of gift you can't return. It all added up not just in my banking app, but inside my chest. There's a certain math to being the reliable one. You start to realize you're not just dependable, you're the backup plan everyone quietly counts on. 2 days after Maxime's birthday, I woke up to another message in the family chat. All caps. Exclamation points. Glitter emojis. Mom's usual fanfare. Very important. RSVP by Wednesday. My niece is sweet 16, $3,100 PR person. Please Venmo me. And then, as if that weren't enough whiplash. Good morning. How was the party? The most absurd price tag I've ever seen for a teenager's birthday was dropped in like a casual grocery reminder. Attached was a PDF. A photo of my cousin in a tiara, a ballroom draped in orchids, and a menu that read like it was straight from a cruise ship brochure. Caviar bar. Ice sculpture. Interactive gelato artist. I stared at the number, hoping it would turn into something that made sense. It didn't. Then came Mom again. We'll also need Daniel to cover Grandma. She's on a fixed income. And there it was, the reflex. The expectation that my name means ATM. No mention of Maxime. No apology for missing his birthday. Not even a lazy sorry meme. Just an invoice I never agreed to. 5 minutes later, Sophie texted. We're all in. Elise refuses to settle for anything less than premium. Should we do a collective gift? Daniel, you're good with spreadsheets, can you coordinate? Julian followed. Do they have an open bar? If so, I'm in. Daniel, you've got me and Clara covered, right? I sat there with my coffee cooling in my hands, feeling the burn anyway. I typed no. Then I deleted it. Not because I didn't mean it, but because with them, words just skim the surface. They don't sink in unless they're tied to something heavy. When I reopened the PDF, I noticed a final page I hadn't seen before, a sponsors section. And there it was, my full name, written in gold cursive under gold patrons, in honor of family. I hadn't given a single cent. I hadn't even been asked. Sophie had done it. And I recognized the headshot she used, it was stolen from my LinkedIn profile. My stomach twisted like a slow knot. I scrolled back through Saturday's messages, hoping there was an apology buried somewhere in the thread. There wasn't. Just Sophie's brunch photo and mom's voice note, the one where she'd said Maxime's birthday was just a kid's party. Then came another text. Mom again, I talked to the venue. They need the deposit by Friday. I promised you'd handle it, you're the most organized. The deposit alone was more than my car is worth, and somehow it was just another Daniel task. I reached for my phone to call her but stopped. I didn't trust my voice to stay steady enough to be heard without breaking something. That night, while Maxime sat at the table working on homework and swinging his feet beneath the chair, I printed out that sponsors page and set it beside my shopping list. 2 columns. One labeled what I do, the other what they expect. Soccer fees, mine. Court fee for Julian's license, mine. Hosting Sophie's business site, mine. Costco cake, mine. $3,100 per person, theirs. Deposit, theirs. For them, Maxime's party was just a kid's thing. But this? This was important. I stared at that page until the ink stopped smearing beneath my fingertips. The next morning, another message arrived. Daniel, you're quiet. Don't be difficult. Your cousin only turned 16 once. Something inside me that had been soft and forgiving for years started to freeze. Not anger like fire. Anger like ice, clear, solid, and deliberate. There's always that one quiet moment before everything changes. For me, it happened when I picked up my keychain and saw the original brass key still hanging there. Mom had a copy. Sophie borrowed hers last month and never returned it. I stared at that key and realized my boundaries were made of the same metal, bent, dulled, and easy to duplicate. That afternoon, I went to the hardware store. I replaced the locks. And while I waited for the keys to be cut, my phone kept lighting up with new messages in the family chat, pictures, emojis, comments like static noise from another world. That's when I made the decision. My family called my son's birthday just a kid's party. But when I refused to pay for a sweet 16, they sent the police to my door. That was the day I finally cut them off. Hi, I'm Daniel. I'm 34, a single dad. I fix networks for a living, and I make lists for peace of mind. I track every dollar that passes through my hands. I can tell you the price of a gallon of milk in 3 stores, one of which restocks juice boxes every Tuesday. My 11-year-old son Maxime loves Lego, hates olives, and honestly believes I'm some kind of wizard because I can untangle cords without swearing. We live in a small rental with a bare backyard and a barbecue I rescued from the curb. My family lives just 20 minutes away, but that doesn't make us close. And if life's taught me anything, it's that proximity doesn't equal love. Aunt Elise had promised to bring the party treats, and Julian said he'd swing by after the gym. That morning, I lined up little water bottles on the porch railing and tied a trash bag to the fence, trying to make the backyard look like something other than a patch of dirt with a grill I'd rescued from the curb. Every 20 minutes, I checked the family group chat. Still nothing. When the pizza delivery guy arrived, I asked if he could hang on a minute. I figured a few cars might start pulling up any second, and I'd need to order more. He looked over my shoulder at the handful of kids running around and said, "You're good." 2 o'clock turned to 3. The sun crawled across the yard, slow and hot. The kids kicked off their sneakers and took turns launching soccer balls into the inflatable goal. My neighbor from across the street stopped by with another cooler, smiling like the party was packed. "Full house," she said. I smiled back, but it felt like my face had forgotten how. At 3:11, my phone buzzed. A message from Mom. "Don't be so dramatic. It's just a kid's party." I stared at it, waiting for something else to follow. Not running late. Not traffic's a nightmare. Not even happy birthday, sweetheart. Just that one cold line that landed like a slap. I stood next to a bowl of orange slices, feeling it settle under my skin. Then Maxime came running toward me red-faced, hair sticking to his forehead, eyes bright. "Dad, can we cut the cake? Can we sing?" "Of course," I said, pretending everything was fine. We gathered everyone around the table. He took a deep breath and blew out all the candles in one go. He'd been practicing for weeks. He looked so proud, frosting smeared across his mouth, and I clapped like an idiot, because that's what dads do. Then I slipped into the kitchen, knife in hand, to breathe for a second alone, where no one could see the quiet breaking happening behind my ribs. The screen door squeaked. Another message popped up. 3 blinking dots pulsing like a heartbeat. "Sophie. We'll catch the next one. Today's insane." A moment later, my lock screen lit up with her Instagram story. "Brunch mimosas." Caption, "Self-care Sunday on a Saturday with my girls." In the corner of the photo, Mom, wearing sunglasses, champagne flute in hand. Julian's tattooed arm, yeah, the one I helped pay for, resting across their chairs. And there I was, standing in my kitchen with a wet knife, a half-eaten cake behind me, and a 10-year-old outside who still thought people meant what they said. The air smelled like sugar and dish soap. Someone yelled goal, and a chorus of kids erupted in cheers. I set the knife down, wiped my hands on a towel, and went back outside. I passed out plates. I smiled. I said nothing about the empty chairs. Not a word. When the last kid left, Maxime and I sat quietly at the table, building the Lego spaceship he'd unwrapped earlier. He didn't ask about Grandma. Or Aunt Elise. Or Uncle Julian. Maybe he didn't want to. Maybe he already knew. Later that night, after he'd fallen asleep on the couch clutching a slice of pizza like a tiny king guarding his treasure, my phone buzzed again. Mom's voice in a short, careless message. "Don't make a big deal, Daniel. He's 10. He'll barely remember." I stared at the ceiling. Something inside me went still, flat, cold. Like a shape I didn't know had been forming finally clicked into place. I didn't respond. Instead, I started cleaning. I counted the chairs that needed returning. Sorted the cans for recycling. Scraped frosting into the trash. Folded the birthday banner and tucked it, along with the leftover candles, into a shoebox. I put everything where it belonged. That's what I do. Then I flipped my phone face down on the counter, because if I read one more sentence from them, I might say something I could never take back. I've always been the fixer. The one who knows the Wi-Fi password, the tax deadline, and who likes what side dish. I was 21 when Philippe walked out. I still remember standing in the driveway when Mom looked at me and said, "You're the man now." It didn't sound like encouragement. It sounded like a job description. When Sophie opened her studio, I built her website and paid for 6 months of hosting. "You'll get it back when I'm profitable," she said. Profit disappeared like smoke. When Julian got his DUI, I took a day off work to sit with him in court. When Mom came down with the flu but refused to stop cooking, I drove her to urgent care. When Julian couldn't make rent, I sent him money just this once. 3 different months, 3 different just this once promises. Every favor came with a familiar chorus. Mom, family helps family. Sophie, you're doing great. Can you spot me till Friday? Julian, I'll pay you back. He never did. But he did buy new rims, because apparently lies need good traction. When Maxime was born, I made him a promise. He would never sit in a folding chair wondering if anyone cared enough to show. He would always get cake even if money was tight. And when people hurt him, he'd see adults who owned up to it. Money was tight a lot. Childcare was like paying rent twice. Health insurance came third, right behind "Don't Lose Your Mind." Still, I made it work. Picked up side gigs. Sold my old guitar to cover a dentist bill. When Maxime outgrew his cleats halfway through the season, I bought a used pair at a thrift store and scrubbed them with a toothbrush until they looked brand new. Meanwhile, the family group chat looked like a travel blog. Wine tastings, yoga retreats, quiet weekends off the grid. Sophie's soft life era. Julian's grind-set lifestyle, more photoshoots than actual work. When I once asked Mom if she wanted to come over for a weekly dinner, she just smiled and said, "Sweetie, my calendar's full. Maybe next month." Next month never came. But my phone still lit up every payday. Tiny green bubbles. Quick favor. Emergency. Don't tell anyone I asked. That was Sophie again, calling late one night after booking a last-minute girls' trip to Tulum. Her airline card had been declined. "Can you fix it? I'll pay you back Monday." Monday came and went. When I mentioned it, she sighed. "Don't be petty, Daniel. Money comes and goes, but memories last forever." Then December rolled around, and Mom sent out a spreadsheet titled Holiday Gift Planning. Names, prices, and color-coded boxes, her love language in Excel. "We should divide everything evenly," she said. Evenly meant I'd cover it. So I did. A winter jacket and a book for Maxime. A mixer for Mom, the one she'd been talking about since spring. A supply gift card for Sophie's studio. And new trainers for Julian. Julian got a new pair of trainers that Christmas. My own gift came quietly a week later, wrapped in silence, sitting at the dinner table when I asked if maybe just once someone else could bring dessert next time. No one answered. That's how it always happens. The things I give don't echo, they just dissolve into the background. It all started to pile up, not just in my checking account, but somewhere heavier. In the chest. In the space where duty and resentment start to blur. Because the math of being the responsible one is brutal. You become their emergency plan, their unspoken fallback, and they don't even realize you never agreed to it. 2 mornings after Maxime's birthday, I woke to another ping from the family chat. Mom, Marianne, had gone full production mode. All caps. Glitter emojis. Exclamation points everywhere. Very important. RSVP by Wednesday. My cousin's Sweet 16. $3,100 per person. Please Venmo me. Then, like it was an afterthought. Good morning. How was the party? A wedding tier price tag thrown into a text chain like it was a grocery reminder. Attached was a PDF. My cousin smiling under a tiara, orchids spilling from the ballroom ceiling. The menu read like a cruise ship brochure. Caviar bar. Ice sculpture. Interactive gelato artist. I stared at that numbered $3,100 per person, waiting for it to morph into something sane. Then came Mom again. We'll also need Daniel to cover Grandma. She's on a fixed income. And there it was, the reflex. That invisible family law that says Daniel will handle it. I wasn't Daniel anymore. I was Wallet. No mention of Maxime. No, sorry we missed his birthday. Not even a lazy meme to soften the sting. Just a bill I never asked for. 5 minutes later, Sophie chimed in. We're all in. Elise refuses to settle for anything less than premium. Should we do a group gift? Daniel, can you organize? You're the spreadsheet guy. Julian added his line, casual as ever. Do they have an open bar? If so, worth it. Daniel, you've got me and Clara covered, right? I sat there, coffee cooling in my hands, feeling the bitterness of it anyway. I typed no, and then erased it. Not because I didn't mean it, but because with them, words don't sink in unless they come attached to something that hurts. I reopened the PDF, scrolled to the end, and there it was, a sponsors page. My name, written in elegant gold script under gold patrons, in honor of family. I hadn't paid a single dollar. I hadn't even been asked. Sophie had done it. She'd even taken my profile photo straight from LinkedIn. My stomach twisted, slow and deliberate, like it was trying to process poison. I scrolled through old messages, looking for some kind of apology. Maybe a so sorry tucked beneath a meme. But there wasn't one. Just Sophie's brunch selfie. And Mom's voice note saying, it's just a kid's party. Then another message. Mom again, I talked to the venue. They need the deposit by Friday. I told them you'd handle it, you're the most organized. The deposit was bigger than my car payment, and it had been assigned to me like a household chore. I picked up my phone to call her and then set it down. I didn't trust my voice to stay steady enough to be mistaken for calm. That night, Maxime was sitting at the table doing his homework, swinging his feet under the chair. I printed the sponsor page and laid it beside my shopping list. 2 columns, one for what I do, one for what they expect. Soccer fees, mine. Court filing fee for Julian's license, mine. Hosting Sophie's studio website, mine. Costco cake, mine. $3,100 per person, theirs. Deposit, theirs. For them, my son's birthday had been just a kid's party. But this was sacred. I stared at the paper until the ink stopped smearing under my fingertips. The next morning, another message. Daniel, you're quiet. Don't be difficult. Your cousin only turned 16 once. Something inside me, soft and patient for years, finally went still. It wasn't anger like fire, it was anger like ice. Clear. Hard. Certain. There's always one small moment before the breaking point. For me, it came when I reached for my keychain and noticed the old brass house key still hanging there. Mom had a copy. Sophie had borrowed one and never gave it back. I stared at that key and realized my boundaries were made of the same metal, bent out of shape from too much use. That afternoon, I went to the hardware store. Got the locks changed. While I waited, my phone buzzed nonstop, family chat, right on schedule. Midday. Their favorite time to post. 1:17 p.m. Sophie's iced coffee boomerang. Julian's gym mirror selfie. Mom's glittery forwarded prayer chain. I took a photo of my backyard instead. The flag was still tied to the fence. The folding chairs still lined up neatly, waiting for guests who never came. The cake box with one missing corner from when Maxime and I wrapped slices in foil for the freezer. I wrote one line beneath it. This was Maxime's birthday. You said you'd come. Then I sent it to the group. The replies came fast. Sophie, why are you posting this here? Text me. Mom, please don't guilt us, Daniel. We have lives. Saturdays are hard. Julian, don't be a martyr. Kids don't care. So I sent screenshots. Mom's message, we'll be there. Sophie's, Aunt Elise is bringing the treats. Then I added the brunch photo. The one where they're all in the corner of the frame, sunglasses, champagne, smiling. I didn't write anything else. Facts don't need captions. They have their own gravity. For a long moment, silence filled the chat. Then Mom finally wrote, enough. We're focused on the Sweet 16 now. I replied with the link. The deposit's due Friday. Her answer came quick, be an adult. I felt my pulse hammering in my jaw. I typed slowly. I am an adult. I'm Maxime's father. Another pause. Then Sophie, casual as ever. You don't have to make everything about your kid. I stared at that sentence until it blurred. Then I typed my final message. You skipped your own nephew's birthday. A week later, you sent me a bill for $3,100 per person for a teenager I see twice a year. You listed my name as a sponsor without asking. You told a venue I'd cover the deposit. And when I didn't answer fast enough, you called me difficult. Here's my response. No.